What is up, everybody? This is 10-4 broadcasting. Myself, Will Tiller, and Mike Maddox here bringing you live action out of the East Coast Modified Tour. And tonight it is race number 7 at Watkins Glen. But before we start tonight's action, Mike, we do want to wish all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day. It is that special Sunday of the month in May for all those ladies out there. I know today I did celebrate my mom during the day, but it is time to hit the track in these modifieds. Mike, how excited are you to see these cars take on a road course?
Looking forward to it. I believe we're at Watkins Glen International. We have a different configuration than you're used to. I know everybody, when you talk about Watkins Glen, it's either the boot or it's up to the S's, up to the bus stop. No bus stop. So this is going to be a different race here this evening.
Oh man, it could be really anybody's game here tonight. It could be different than what we've seen throughout this season so far. A little interchanging between Caden Tufts and Jeff Clifton tonight. Mike, do you see anybody else knocking them off that top of the point standings?
Road course, I think it's anybody's game. I don't want to jinx anybody here tonight, especially at a road course where the action's definitely going to be different.
Yes, indeed. We come on early during this broadcast to give you a sneak peek at this qualifying action, to give you an indication of what's going to be taking place here tonight at the Glen. Now, Mike, people that are unfamiliar with Watkins Glen or maybe just haven't been to this track in a while, what differences does this new configuration make to this race tonight?
It makes a different outcome. You'll see a lot of people, say, "Oh, what about the bus stop? What about, the boot?" Well, this is the modifieds we're running here tonight. They do have 2 gears, so we're trying to make sure that basically put on a good show for everybody and also for all the other competitors on the field.
Now, Mike, I was trying to explain today to actually my mom off screen today as we were out for Mother's Day, seeing these modifieds take on the road course. Now, you're an open-wheeled racer yourself. You're used to racing sports series and things like that. I know it's difficult to race these cars on a short track. How much different is it going to be seeing these modifieds here on a road course where you don't have a full gearbox and you only really have 2 gears you can interchange? How difficult it is to maneuver these corners around this Glen here tonight?
Well, talking to a teammate of mine that's also entered into the race, it's definitely going to be challenging for sure. Being only 2 gears, it's going to be hard for these drivers to, keep the pedal in the metal, so to say, without, blowing the engine.
Now, Mike, is it going to be a lot of having to brake in the corner since you can't really downshift and get, let those RPMs rev up in the engine on exit? What's it going to take for these drivers to conquer this track here tonight? As I'm thinking, it might be a different winner. It's just going to be see who has the best road course skills in this East Coast Modified Tour here tonight, brought to you by 2G Motorsports. What do you think it's going to take for somebody to take home the prize here tonight?
Wow, it's the one key thing is, we talk about short tracks every week. It's patience is that key word. Here, it's no patience. It's go time, because you could have an incident and there won't be a caution. So road courses are definitely different than you would do like a short track or a speedway or even a super speedway. You have an incident, you have a little bit of time to, pick yourself back up and, get around this track.
As we're taking a look at the weather today at the Glen, this race is brought to you by 2G Motorsports. It's a cool 85 degrees out there. A little bit of rain out there, about 60% chance. Cloudy just a tad, about a 10-mile-an-hour wind coming down onto the track here at the Glen, Mike. This is a special day for all you race fans out here. It is a happy Mother's Day to all those moms out there that might be watching. Man, what a day it is for those moms out there. Just want to wish all those moms, especially my mom, a happy Mother's Day out there. And man, Mike, we can't be more excited to bring you this live action out of the East Coast Modified Tour. I'm excited myself to see what these modifieds have in store here tonight at the road course. Me and you don't get to cover a lot of road courses, Mike.
Definitely, I believe the last road course we did was the Daytona road course for the Friday night race. For sure, that was a amazing performance. But here, different racetrack. We talk about road courses. First comes to mind is Daytona because of the 24 hours. But normally, you come to Watkins Glen. What's the mindset? It's the 6 hours at the Glen. That's one of the main road course races that the series puts on, especially in sports cars. Also, iRacing does a 6 hours at the Glen event. That is a teamed event, which I believe some of these drivers would be teaming up together to conquer the 6 hours at the Glen coming up here, I believe, in the middle to late June. But here tonight, we're with the SK Modifieds, whole different ball game, different type of car. It's just, we see in that Formula One race, it's always getting into turn one. Well, in this race, it's going to be getting into turn one. Who can survive getting into turn one?
Man, Mike, I wish I would have been able to watch more of that F1 race, as it was just about 3 hours away from me down here. We'd have to rob a bank to get some tickets to go down there, because I think tickets were upwards of $300-400 just to go to the F1 race. I was watching the Mavericks beat the Phoenix Suns again to tie up that series. But as you were saying, that corner one there at the Miami Grand Prix was challenging, and I can almost imagine we're going to see the same thing here tonight in these modifieds, because as I was looking through the chat throughout this week here, everybody's trying to practice at this track, but it's really about figuring it out. Like, it's a huge puzzle for these cars. It's not like we mentioned to start this broadcast off, you don't have a full gearbox in these SK mods. You only have 2 gears. So to really conquer these corners, to conquer this road course, you really have to have a strategy, be meticulous in the way you drive this race car around, because we've seen it throughout the weeks. Mike, these cars are ultra sensitive. So it's almost similar to watching an F1 or IndyCar race here at a road course, where any little contact is going to make the difference in tonight's event.
Definitely. We do have some breaking news from the pits, being told that Nathan and Caden are starting at the back of the field, and they're going to be coming through the field to try to win this race. So that's definitely going to be a different strategy for those 2 drivers. So far, we have 8 drivers taking the field this evening. As it stands right now, I believe we're getting ready for our quick warm-up, and we're going to take a quick commercial break before we go racing. And I suggest you guys take a good look at this stuff, because it's amazing. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. That was some great merchandise, admin box, perfect admin box device. You should check them out. That's admin BOXX, and that is the perfect designs from Martin Sports Apparel. I definitely have some sports apparel on the way. I can't wait to definitely put them on and feel like an actual race car driver. Yes, I don't have a racing suit, but we're looking forward to getting at least some advertising shirts out there.
Yeah, Mike, if you haven't checked out martinsports906.com, it is the one-stop shop for your sim racing and sports apparel needs. Check out their wide variety of sim gloves, hats, t-shirts, and hoodies. As Mike was just mentioning, they do custom work. So if you're looking to rock some custom jerseys for your race team, maybe just buy some gifts for your race team, or maybe you just have a racer in your family that you want to surprise with their own jersey, their name on it, their favorite colors, all that good stuff. Go check them out at martinsports906.com. As we're taking a look at the 2G Motorsports 100 starting lineup here at the Glen. And Mike, if you want to go ahead and read off those qualifying results, it looks like we have a different person starting up at the pole position.
That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. Starting on the pole is Daniel Rowe in the number 13. Starting P2, Jeff Clifton in the number 15 this evening. Evan Burke, your series admin, starting P3 in that 62 out of the East Coast Motorsports team. Starting P4 is Mark Swain, driving that 66 for Zoo Crew Racing. Starting P5 is AJ Rogers in the 09, driving solo for that team. Number 6 is Miles Morse in that one car. Jacob
P7.
Go ahead. Jacob Torman.
Yeah, Mike.
P7, 31. I know that was your pick last week to win and came up short.
A little bit of commentator's curse there, Mike, as Liam Atwood is going to roll out P8 here. As we mentioned, Caden Tufts and Nathan Bryant are going to start from that back of the pack. We got Caden Tufts rolling off P9. Waylon Turner is going to roll off P10. Patrick Jenks is going to roll off P11. Nathan Bryant, one of those guys that finished second place last week, is going to come rolling off in P12. Edward Marshall is going to be P13. And then your teammate, Chris Edwards, is going to roll off P14 out of Extreme Performance Motorsports.
That is your starting lineup for this evening. We're looking at going about 45 laps here tonight. Again, this is the Watkins Glen Classic track. This is not the boot or the chicane up to the S's. You're going to go straight, full speed, mainly this track. The one thing that you want to do is you see the 13 it's going slightly off track in turn 1. If you go too much, you will get penalized. That's something that iRacing has added into this track and then the newest update. And we'll talk about a couple other turns as well. I believe maybe one more corner. Because if you remember in the past, we had grass and runoff.
Yeah, Mike, before we ride off into that green flag drop there, I do want to remind the folks to go check out another wonderful sponsor here in the East Coast Modified Tour, and that is the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast. Join your good friends Jimbo as he tackles everything from football to baseball, basketball to hockey, MMA, and even soccer. Man, Mike, if there was ever a time to tune into that podcast, it'd be right now. You get the NBA playoffs happening, NHL playoffs happening. Big race at Dover with Joey Logano just picked up a huge win just today. You had Canelo Alvarez got beat last night. You had Rose Namajunas got beat last night in MMA. So if there's ever a time to tune into the Stay Tuned Sports podcast, that is right now. Go check them out at facebook.com/StayTunedSports, or they do have a Podbean as well at Stay Tuned Sports, Mike. And what a time it is in the sports world. But back to the action here in the East Coast Modified Tour. And what a front row that is. And speaking of row, Rowe has really come on strong here the last couple of weeks, Mike. It's just he's been overshadowed by a few other drivers in this series.
Yes, no doubt. We talk about it every week. We talk about Caden, we talk about Jeff, we talk about Nathan. Those are the three main drivers that we talk about every week. But you know what? There's always that ringer. And I believe tonight is going to be totally different. Yeah, we'll see Jeff, we'll see Caden, Nathan. But I believe this is the race where another driver can shine, so to say.
Yeah, I really think so too, Mike. I think it's that opportunity for somebody to break out in this tour. We're on race number 7 here in the East Coast Modified Tour, just past halfway. Taking a look at Evan Burke. They're racing out of Windsor, Vermont. And Evan Burke is actually admin here in the East Coast Modified Tour. Decided to fire up his modified race with the boys here tonight. He does race in the Virtual Racing Association with us on Tuesday nights. Been running pretty good in that series, if I do say so myself. That is a series that you're helping build up, Mike, as the race admin. I know last week was a little crazy at the Coliseum. We'll see how this race goes here tonight in the East Coast Modified Tour. I am excited and pumped up to see what these drivers have in store here on a wonderful Mother's Day Sunday here in May. We can look at the few of the drivers on the back of the pack there. There's your teammate out of the Extreme Performance Motorsports, and Edward Marshall as well. As the pace car leads them around the road course here, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to go green flag racing here in the East Coast Modified Tour. And here we go. The green flag is waving. Let's go racing here in the East Coast Modified Tour 2G Motorsports 100.
Here we go, turn 1. Amazing turn out of turn 1. Clean start so far.
Very clean, Mike. As you see, Rowe is leading the way there. Daniel Rowe. The 13 machine, like we said, is a little overshadowed by the rest of the cars in this field. We get TJ Allen in the chat. That is a name I don't see on the grid here tonight. We're missing you in tonight's race there, TJ. Big shout out to the foundation he was representing last week in Mission 22. Hope to see him back on the track here pretty soon. You see Daniel Rowe is still leading the way, holding off Jeff Clifton. And Mike, if you want to...
So far, single file. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, if you want to fill the folks at home in on how many turns are there here at the Glen, and how different are each corner here as the drivers are tackling? As you see Daniel Rowe still leading the way here going around the corner. How different are each corner here at this road course?
I believe the Classic has 8 turns. As we got reports of TJ Allen that said we will be back next week, Family Day, with the holiday. Happy Mother's Day to all mothers watching. Back to your question, we got 8 turns here. Each turn is a little different. I'm gonna say slightly different, because each turn could be a fast corner. We will actually go on board with your race leader, and we're gonna see how he takes these corners each lap.
And Mike, that has got to be a big rush inside that car down that straightaway there. And you got to really get that thing down in the corners. Ooh, a wide corner there as we're taking an onboard ride with Daniel Rowe here. These onboard cameras are brought to you by 10-4 Broadcasting. That was about the worst corner we've seen so far out of Daniel.
As I'm being told, we have a couple of crashes in the back of the field, so we were going to check that out.
No caution yet here on the track. We'll go ahead and rev up that 10-4 Broadcasting replay to see what exactly happened behind the leaders there. And Mike, on a course like this, if you guys could get spun out and kind of crash by themselves, then it won't bring out a caution because it won't affect the rest of the field.
That is correct. I believe this race is definitely different. As we see Chris Edwards, so I got a little tight off the corner and just scraped the wall. And I believe that is a lot of things that's definitely will happen here this evening, as you're racing the track, not each other. Ooh.
Oh, man. Got really loose there.
And we've seen our leader have just a slight bit of problems.
Oh,
Oh, man. Big contact there.
You see the 31 of Jacob Torman. You see the 4 of Edward Marshall there involved in that as well.
Oh, and the 61
man.
collects it.
And the 61's also tied up. That's Waylon Turner there.
That was, that's the biggest wreck.
Man, Mike, and there's no caution yet on the track. Wow, big action already. And you'll see that tonight, folks. You get loose here on the track, and those cars are coming behind you. There's really nowhere where you can go on this road course. But like as Mike mentioned, you're not really racing the rest of the field. You're racing yourself. And, each corner is different here at the Glen. You really want to tackle each corner with the same precision and strategy throughout. You can't really lose focus at all on this course. As you see a car right behind Daniel there gets way loose on the entry of that corner. Because any little mistake can not only send you up the track or way loose, but it could also cost you a lot of speed, Mike, and there's really no way to recover once you get going here at a road course, gain those positions back.
Yes, definitely. Road course racing is totally different than oval racing. As we see Daniel pass, I believe that's the 51. Just came out of pit road.
Oh, man.
Drifting off the corner.
Ooh, I love it, Mike. What do they say? That they call that the slide job through the corners?
That's correct. So at these type of racetracks, you're not going to see as much cautions as you were at like a short track. We've seen that big wreck with the 4, the 31. That's basically, I think all you're really going to see this evening. This is how the action at road courses is. I know NASCAR rules, you normally throw a caution, but iRacing's rules, and I believe we're going by that. They do not throw cautions at road courses. Oh, as we have a slider right behind him. And that's second place. 88 Caden, you see him sliding off the final corner.
Yeah, Mike, and just running through what happened on that last track. Oh, man, getting a little slippery there on the corner. As you see, Caden Tufts has already climbed his way up into the field, up into second place. He's got his rival right behind him in Jeff Clifton, the self-proclaimed king of the modifieds. And you want to run the folks at home through who is involved in that race we saw, or that crash we saw. Edward Marshall in that 4. Waylon Turner was involved as well. Evan Burke. Jacob Torman was involved in that as well. You see Miles Morse is in lap down. You see Chris Edwards, your teammate there, is a lap down. Mark Spain's a lap down now. Patrick Jenks is a lap down. So a lot of cars that were involved in that accident, Mike, are going to have a lot of work to do to get back into contention here in the 2G Motorsports 100.
Definitely, road courses and these cars, totally different ball game. As we see drivers getting loose, and that was one of the things. As we see Caden in the background get loose again out of the final corner. This is the one thing that a lot of the drivers have talked about, as a problem. But, everybody's got the same. Ooh.
Man, this is wild, Mike. I like this type of racing here tonight. It's almost like we're racing on dirt, but we're far from it here at the Glen. And maybe that's takes into account to not having a full gearbox in these race cars where you can't downshift and get the RPMs down and then back up on exit. You really have to let go of the gas and hope that your car slows down enough to make that sharp corner.
I'm going to say yes, but I think,
Oof.
a little slide. I think what's happening here is, these cars are definitely going down on the weight, which means the back end's getting a little slippy slooty, so to say. Those back end tires, they're gonna slide in much more. I'm looking forward to see what happens here towards the end of this race.
Yeah, folks, we got about 6 cars that are still on the lead lap here. That is Atwood in that 2, Nathan Bryant in that 149. You got Rogers in that 009 machine. You got the number 15 of Jeff Clifton in 3rd place, and Caden Tufts is your 2nd place race car right now. But Daniel Rowe, a surprise in tonight's event, not only got the pole, Mike, but he has extended that lead to about 3 seconds now on 2nd place. So maybe we have found his special stuff here tonight at the road course. You see it sometimes in these leagues, Mike, that some drivers are really good at super speedways, some drivers are better at the smaller speedways, and then all of a sudden you see a guy really shine at a road course, and I think we might be seeing it here tonight in Daniel Rowe.
Definitely. I'm getting reports that we had a couple more incidents. Let's see if we can bring up the 10-4 replay and check out what happened here. '61 going into turn 1. Oh,
that's Waylon Turner there. Yeah. Just got a little crazy by himself there. Doesn't look like he's going to affect any of the other drivers.
Another one here. And that's the 62. Ooh!
Oh no!
The 51 had a little incident. The 62 was collected in that.
Man. You see the 62 just get caught up there, Mike. And
just had another incident with the 61. Ooh! Slipping and sliding.
But awesome save there out of the 61 there, Mike. He came into that corner so hot. You saw the smoke coming out of those back tires there. He was really on the brakes to save that race car, and good on him for saving that thing. He could have taken a hard impact onto that wall.
Wow, that's definitely something you don't want to see. But out front,
oh, Mikey.
That number 13 of Daniel Rowe still out front and pulling away from Caden behind. I believe Caden just scraped the wall.
Yeah, Mike, and I was going to ask you, for those that are maybe unfamiliar with iRacing and not familiar with the setups that these drivers here... Oh, man!
That's your second place. Ooh.
And here comes Jeff Clifton there, narrowly avoids it, and you see the 3rd place car slow down. That's actually Edward Marshall in that 4 there. He was 2 laps down. Man, Caden Tufts just went a full 90 degrees there in that race car. It's going to cost him a lot of speed there, Mike, as Jeff Clifton overtook for 2nd place, which really benefits our leader in Daniel Rowe in that 13. Oh no!
Damn.
Man, this is a crazy race here tonight, Mike. The only driver we've seen not make any mistakes, not to put the commentator curse on him just yet, is Daniel Rowe in that 13. He has not made any mistakes on the racetrack just yet. So I'm going to lose just a couple times.
That's all we've seen. And with the amount of gap he's got between him and 2nd place, he's got that wiggle room to be, gentle in the corners, not have to push it. We see these drivers, we talked about it before. It's the back end, these cars are definitely getting a lot looser because of the weight. Less fuel, which means the back end's going to be up more.
And would it have been wise, Mike, for those unfamiliar with iRacing and the setups and with the wheels that these drivers use and the pedals, would it have been wise to maybe I'm not familiar with it, maybe like loosen up the feedback on your wheel here tonight? Like if you were to run a dirt course, that way, as you see Daniel Rowe hasn't had any mistakes, but he is sliding around those corners. Would it have been more wise to maybe decrease the sensitivity on the wheel? That way you'd have more freedom to kind of slide the car around here tonight?
No, there's not really much you can do. It's more of a setup. Um, the setup, to be honest with you, we know that the setup was posted weeks in advance, so drivers had their fair share to practice, provide feedback, and who knows, maybe they could have made a couple changes before the actual race here tonight. But we've seen so far two people. We got Daniel and Jeff 1-2 with Caden running P3. I know you said you don't want to put the curse on him, but with him being so loose like he is, I think it's going to come down to how slow can you go in these corners.
And he's really giving it all he can to start off this event here in the 2G Motorsports 100. And shout out to Evan Burke's grandparents there, as they are the sponsors of tonight's event here at Watkins Glen. A happy Mother's Day to Evan Burke's grandma there. You see Evan Burke racing out of Windsor, Vermont. And you see he's just trying to maybe get some laps there. Had a rough go of things to start off tonight's event, but we were very early in the proceedings here. This happy Mother's Day event. Usually Evan is up in the race control box, using his admin box to throw cautions, add laps, all of that good stuff as well. If you haven't checked out admin box, go check them out at admin box. It's 2 X's on the end.com. Check out that wonderful device there for all you admins and race control people out there that may have admins of another league, or it's almost similar to a stream deck there, Mike, where it's just plug and play. You can control the race from that device. As you see, Evans having a tough go of things here tonight at the Glen. But one driver that is not struggling here tonight, Mike, that is Daniel Rowe in that 13. And as we see some drivers take a pit stop, we will jump to commercial and go side by side to give you all the action here in the East Coast Modified Tour. And we are back here, ladies and gentlemen, here in the 2G Motorsports 100 on this beautiful Happy Mother's Day Sunday, bringing you live action out of the East Coast Modified Tour, Mike. And we see the leader is now down pit road, and Daniel Rowe, we were just talking during that commercial break that, he's just hitting those lines so clean here tonight that it's going to take a huge mistake out of him to let those other cars catch up to him.
Most definitely, we've seen early on a lot of drivers, get sideways just because of the weight of the back end of the car. It's definitely a hard way to lose the race, but it's just the fact that you're losing fuel, which makes the back end picks up the back end, should say. It makes these definitely Tour Modifieds way loose. But we noticed, starting with Jeff here and Caden, they are not using those rumble strips. I believe that is one of the causes of a lot of drivers, getting sideways.
Yeah, and if we could take an onboard ride with Caden Tufts in that 88, last week's winner there, he may have overtaken the points lead. As you see, He's going to overtake Jeff Clifton now. These are the there's going to be 3 cars on the lead lap. Currently, a few cars are getting their laps back as Daniel Rowe head down pit road. You see Caden Tufts and Jeff Clifton are gaining some times on Daniel there. But you see, like, those left sides go up on the rumble strips there. There's a lot of hand movement on that wheel, Mike. Is that something that you usually see on a road course like that, or is it just the style of race car we're racing here tonight?
It's just the style of race car that we are racing, for sure. That's, as we hear Jeff, full throttle. It sounds like it's max throttle in these cars. So one thing that you want to keep in mind is that as Daniel's still waiting on board, with number 15 of Jeff Clifton. One thing that you want to realize is that, you know, Caden, Jeff, top 2, we talk about almost every week. But this is a road course. Totally different style of racing. And speaking of Caden, you know, he's coming in at almost a sweep. He's secretly joined us on Tuesday night at the LA Coliseum and had dominated that race. And looking forward to sweeping this race as well. I'm going to say back-to-back race wins here. As we're back on board with your race leader.
Yeah, taking a ride on board with Daniel Rowe there in that 13. He's racing out of Northborough, Massachusetts there. A lot of Northeast drivers here in this field. Can't wait for the modified tour to go back up to Monadnock Speedway up there. I might make a little trip back up to New Hampshire to check out that race. But I heard that there's going to be a big race down here at New Smyrna Speedway of the modifieds. William Byron might be making an appearance down here, the way he's been racing in the late models. Be awesome to see him take on that New Smyrna Speedway. I've actually never been there, Mike, so what a cool chance that would be to see him take on that course. Finished just short of the race victory here today at Dover. But man, back to the action here in the East Coast Modified Tour. Nobody's really seeming to have anything for Daniel Rowe. We were speaking, Mike, that, you know, he keeps hitting these lines, you know, no major mistakes, no major incidences out of that 13. You might have the stuff here tonight. As we have a chance to do so, it looks like we do have a special guest willing to join us here tonight during the action. I believe it is going to be last week's winner of Caden Tufts. Said he is down for an interview during tonight's race, so let's see if we can't get him on the radio to see what his thoughts are of tonight's racing at the Glen. Hey, Caden, this is Mike and Will up here in the 10-4 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
I got a copy.
Man, this is a crazy race here tonight so far. We saw a couple early instances there. We saw a lot of big-name drivers get caught up in that. We're also seeing Daniel Rowe just really race his best race of the season here tonight. Do you feel like you're going to have anything for him there? And take us through your point of view of the race so far. We're just about halfway through.
Right now, honestly, we're just trying to figure out a strategy. I mean, me and Nathan are working together here, but right now it doesn't look like it's working. Daniel got us figured out, I'm pretty sure. Basically, our only hope is that he runs out of fuel, and we basically pit at the same time and we have better tires than him.
And we see some of these corners there. You guys are sliding through and kind of like Tokyo drifting a little bit through these corners. How difficult is it to race these modifieds on a road course like this, as I'm joined with my co-host Mike here that's used to racing the sport classes and the open wheel F1 and Indy cars on road courses? How much more difficult it is to take on this road course in only 2 gears?
Honestly, it's not too difficult. It's for me, it's pretty normal, I feel, since I'm more used to road. I've run a lot of road races and all that. But really, I'm not downshifting at all. I'm just keeping her in second gear and hoping not to get tire spin, but happened once at a turn 1 and we ended up spinning out.
I do have a question. Do you seem like the rumble strips are making you guys a little bit more looser than expected?
Yeah, I find the ones through the S's are, if you hit those, I find it makes it a little loose. That's why I'm trying my hardest to avoid them. That's really my main goal, just stay off the curbs. But I mean, turn one, it's pretty hard to avoid that curb there. So, I mean, it is what it is. Just gotta hopefully save the car when you hit them.
Man, we shall see what's going to take place here tonight, Caden. It's going to take a lot for you, either you or Jeff or even Nathan, who came up pretty close last week to put one of those cars into victory lane there. But before we let you get back, as we see you get a really loose there on the exit of the corner. Before we let you go there, we don't want to give you that chance to shout out anybody that you might have watching here tonight or any sponsors that you want to mention before we let you get back to racing.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to thank my sponsors, Brad Walter Mortgages, LBT Pallets, Timberley Beverage Room, ARD HVAC, Factory S Motorsports, and you guys for putting this on.
Yes, sir. All right, Caden, we'll let you get back to it, man. Hopefully we'll speak to you here later on, maybe with a podium finish or even putting that 88 in victory lane.
Thank you guys. See you guys soon, hopefully.
Yes, sir. That was Caden Tufts, Mike. He joined us for a special in-car race interview there, and as he said, they're really just hoping for Daniel to run out of gas here.
Yeah, we asked, Caden about those rumble strips. That's something that I believe I noticed, after the first couple laps, that these drivers, every time they get on that rumble strips, no matter what corner there was, they end up starting to get a lot loose in those corners and making them slide. As we see the leader at number 13, Daniel Rowe, expanding his lead over Caden by over 10 seconds, and Jeff from 11 seconds back. I believe AJ and Nathan are over 50 seconds behind, so it looks like it's down to Caden and Jeff.
Yes, sir. And we've got about 25 to go here, ladies and gentlemen. We will run to commercial just a second. Then we'll get back to this action-packed race here in the 2G Motorsports 100. This live action is brought to you by 10-4 Broadcasting. And we'll be right back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is as we see a little bobble by the 62 for 149. The race leader is Daniel Rowe, and I know we talked about the road course experience and a different type of racing here. These modifieds, yes, they can run on road courses. I would say yes, these cars are designed for road courses, but I believe the SK modifieds iRacing does have two versions of the modifieds. I believe, as we see the cars in the back end, a little sideways. But I think the SK modifieds, not the Tour modifieds like we normally see, every Sunday and Tuesday, I believe we can upgrade maybe to the SK modifieds for like special races like this. I do see another road course in the future. But to be honest, I think this is a good idea. You know, we see the hard racing setup could be a little bit tighter. To my book, it's just seeing these cars on this type of track. You know, the weather does play a factor in the way these cars handle.
Yeah, Mike, this is quite the race for Daniel Rowe there. It's quite a different race than what we've seen so far here in the East Coast Modified Tour. This is race number 7 here in this series. Usually it's a give and take between Jeff Clifton and Caden Tufts there, Mike, but the way Daniel is racing here tonight, it might be a whole different ball game the last 4 races here in the East Coast Modified Tour. A few of these drivers do race on Tuesday nights as well in the Virtual Racing Association. You can catch all that action here at 10-4 broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, Mike. And man, Daniel is going to have a lot to say after this race if he can come home the champion. It's quite the race he is running here tonight as we're taking a look at Caden Tufts, last week's winner there. And Caden was nice enough to allow us to interview him during this race action here. You got Nathan Bryant has climbed back up into the top 5 as well, Mike. And I think the battles are really ensuing for a top 5 position between Nathan Bryant, Miles Morris, and Mark Swain back there in that 66. See a few cars there filing through the field for you folks at home to get you a view of your favorite driver here in tonight's event. That's the 51 of Patrick Jenks. Look there at the rest of the field there behind the leader, because as we mentioned, the leader has about a 10-second lead here on the rest of the field. And for you folks watching at home, we do invite you to shout out your favorite driver here in the chat. I know a lot of the drivers do listen to the broadcast as they're racing, so we're going to show all the love and support we can of these drivers. And again, a happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there. And I know in a few of our leagues, Mike, there's some new dads out there, there's some new moms out there as well. I mean, what a year it has been for a lot of families out there, and I just want to wish everybody a happy Mother's Day here on this beautiful Sunday evening. We're going to have less than 20 laps to go here in the 2G Motorsports 100 at the Glen. And it has been the Daniel Rowe show here tonight in that number 13 machine. Never has really faltered at all, has never really made a mistake at all in tonight's event. Started from the pole and just rocketed from there, Mike.
Yes, took the pole and doesn't look back. You know, we've seen other drivers just get loose. It's just the nature of this track and this car. We talked to Caden about, you know, getting on those rumble strips and the car just getting loose. We do see a lot of our drivers here this evening that has retired from the show tonight. They are loading up and headed home. Come back next week here, and that is AJ Rogers, Edward Marshall, Liam Atwood, Chris Edwards, and Jacob Torman. They are both out of the race, and they are headed to the house to load up for our next short track race coming up.
Yes, sir, Mike. I believe we are heading to Lucas Oil Raceway, Mike, and I'm actually unfamiliar where that racetrack is located. And for the folks at home, what kind of track are we looking forward to next week?
Oh, Lucas Oil. That is the Indianapolis Raceway Park, located outside of Indianapolis.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's where they're going to be running the Indy Grand Prix coming up here in the, I still call it the Indy Series. I think it's the next series or NTT Series, but they're going to be running that Indy Grand Prix before they run the Indy 500, right?
The Indy Grand Prix is run on the road course, not the short track. Indy cars at a short track, that's a disaster. I'm pretty sure any IndyCar owner would not want their cars there.
No, we've seen that at the super speedways as well. It's not the best track for those race cars, but as we're taking a look at Daniel Rowe there, we'll go ahead and filter through the rest of the field to see what else is taking place here in tonight's event in the 2G Motorsports 100. You see Caden Tufts is that second place race car. You see Jeff Clifton, the self-proclaimed of the modifieds. He is in that third position. Looks like we have a race for third taking place here, Mike, between Miles Morse and I believe that's Nathan Bryant up there.
That is a race. That is a battle for fourth.
Yeah, so even though Daniel Rowe is pulling away with tonight's victory, there are big battles ensuing inside the top 5. Mike, as you see Mark Swain in that 66 is creeping up to those guys and trying to put that 66 in the top 5. This is a big battle ensuing right here, Mike. This is for the top 5 position, just inside the top 5. You know, these drivers probably think that this race is over as far as a victory goes, but a lot of points are still on the line if you can get that race car inside the top 5.
Definitely, we see our second place runner, the 88 Caden in pit lane, down for service. He's hoping that fresh tires and some fuel will definitely get him to the end of this race.
Yes, sir, and we'll see what happens to Daniel Rowe in that 13. I do believe that he does have to make one more pit stop as well in tonight's event. I'm sure he'll keep that race car out there as long as possible. If you tuned into the race last night in the Powerhouse Racing League, Mike, I tuned in at the very end. I was working at the same time there. As I was listening to Patrick Morrison and Mitchell Adams there, the leader was actually coasting around the final corners to save fuel. So what a race it was last night in the Powerhouse Racing League as Caleb McCarthy came home second, but Landon Lacey went back-to-back like Drake in that series. And man, it was quite a race to listen to as I was working and to believe. They were kind of confused up in the booth, Mike. They couldn't believe that the leader was shutting his engine off going around the corners. We might see it here tonight with Daniel Rowe. If he can just keep those lines and keep the way he's racing here tonight, he could shut the engine off the last couple laps and still pull away with this thing.
I highly doubt that. You know, turning your car off and getting it refired, especially on these type of cars, it's definitely hard. You do not want to stall the car and then be, you know, out of the race.
With about a 30-second lead, Mike, I think he could pull into the concession stands, get him some popcorn, maybe some hot dogs and a drink, munch those things down, get back on the track, and still have a pretty good lead on second place. As you see, he's pulling up to, I believe that is, take a look at that car that he is coming up on there. It's the 62 there of Evan Burke, and now Evan Burke is the admin here in the East Coast Modified Tour as we see a car 90 degrees into the wall there just before the start-finish line there. And we want to thank Evan for bringing us on here in the East Coast Modified Tour. We are having an awesome time broadcasting these races for you guys, and we want to thank him as well for helping out in the growth of the VRA League, that's the Virtual Racing Association, on Tuesday nights as well. I believe, Mike, that we are also going to be broadcasting the late model series. It's going to be taking place on Friday nights, and I believe that series starts on May 27th. So stay tuned here at 10-4 Broadcasting because we got big things coming down the pipeline, bringing you all the modified action you can handle and late model action coming up on May 27th.
Definitely, I believe we'll be having a flyer posted on our Facebook page. That's 10-4 Broadcasting on Facebook. I'm working on trying to get one here for you guys before the night is over.
Yes, sir, as we're taking a look at Daniel Rowe here, and I believe there's only 3 cars left on the lead lap. We're counting down the laps here, ladies and gentlemen. If you are tuning in late to this broadcast, nothing has really changed throughout this race. Daniel Rowe in that 13 started from the pole position. Never really had any competition to start this race off. There was a big accident to start the proceedings. I think about lap 5 or 6, collected a lot of big names. As you see, a lot of guys have parked that race car and headed off to Lucas Oil Stadium for next week. But Daniel has really never faltered from that lead, never really has gotten loose, never really had any accidents by himself. Just really he's run about the cleanest race we've seen out of him so far this season, and really trying to make himself known in this series. It's usually Nathan Bryant, it's usually Jeff Clifton, it's usually Caden Tufts, but the way that Daniel Rowe has raced here tonight, he's really making himself known amongst the best drivers here in this series. And Mike, we want to invite everybody for tuning in here to the broadcast. We want to invite everybody for tuning in to go check us out on 10-4 Broadcasting on YouTube. Go ahead and hit that subscribe, like, and that little bell button as well. Go check us out on Facebook. We do race recaps on there as well. We also shout out all those awesome sponsors involved with these leagues. And Mike, we want to invite everybody to tune back in here on Tuesday night. We'll bring you action out of the VRA League. That's the Virtual Racing Association. If you haven't checked them out, they do run the same type of race car here. I believe we raced the Coliseum last week, Mike, and it was Caden Tufts who, in his debut, picked up that huge win. And I believe Mike is going to go ahead and throw up that late model schedule coming up on the 27th. Now, on the 27th, we will have a double header taking place here at 10-4 Broadcast. We'll be bringing you action out of the High Octane Sim Series as they'll be wrapping up their season. It'll be the second to last playoff race there in that league. But at the same time, at around 8 p.m., we'll bring you live action out of the Eastern Late Model Series. This is a brand new series from Jeff Clifton here in the East Coast Modified Tour, and that series will kick off on May 27th at Thompson Speedway, Mike. And for those unfamiliar, how different are the late models to these modified race cars?
Wow. Late models, you'd be beating and banging on those type of cars. And I'm being told by on Discord here is that if you're looking to sponsor any of those races, please reach out to Jeff Clifton on Facebook and the East Coast Tour and Modifieds Facebook page, actually group page to be exact. We can sponsor any of the races coming up for that week. For sure, as we're winding down here, 13 to go.
And man, Mike, I've kind of glanced at the schedule once or twice here, but if we could leave that up for just a second, I'm excited to see the late models run at New Smyrna Speedway. That is a track that's about 2.5, 3 hours away from where I'm at here in Florida. And I've been checking out that page, the Florida Open Wheel Modified League, and all those racing leagues up there, because I've actually never found a track down here. We had Moroso Drag Strip, the closest thing to me here that's actually closed now. They're going to build a warehouse where the drag strip used to be. So the only speedway that I really know that's left here in Florida is the New Smyrna Speedway, and they do a lot of open wheel modified races up there in real life. And the late model series, I believe, is going to be coming there as well, with William Bryan going to be making an appearance in that, since he just picked up a huge win in that series. So I'm excited to see what the iRacing cars have in store for New Smyrna Speedway. That's the second week of the season on June 5th, and I believe Mike will be running a double header on that day, as well as that will be the championship race for the High Octane Sim Series in the second week of this series here in the Eastern Late Model Series.
Most definitely. We're looking at this schedule. I'm looking forward to Rockingham and I believe Richmond. Five Flag Speedway. I think I've seen AMLs there plenty of times. Not in person, but in iRacing. I know iRacing does have their special events going on, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what kind of action put out for you guys as well.
Yeah, Mike, with less than 10 laps to go here, watching the Daniel Rowe show. Similar to the Truman show here, all eyes have been on him. Shout out to Tupac there, because he is really not faltered at all here, ladies and gentlemen. Usually we filter through the field to show you the other drivers going on in tonight's event, but looks like there's only two other cars that are on the lead lap, and that's Jeff Clifton and Caden Tufts, and those two cars are about, from the grid there, looks like they're about 17 seconds away from each other, so no real battle is ensuing on the track per se. That 13 is just running away with things as we're taking a look at Caden Tufts in that 88. And Mike, I'm going to see if I can't bring our race leader up into the booth to get his take on how he's been able to dominate here tonight at the morning. Hey, Daniel, this is Mike and Will. Mike and Will up here in the 10-4 broadcasting with you. Got a copy?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Man, not as good as you, man. You are rocking and rolling through this race here tonight with about 11 laps to go. We were just speaking during the broadcast there. It's been the Daniel Rowe show here tonight because all eyes have been on you here. Never really faltered, never really have gotten loose at all, never really had any troubles in tonight's event. Kind of take us through your point of view of tonight's race and how you've been able to dominate here at the Glen.
My goal was just to kind of come in and be as smooth as I could. I figured that people would probably try to be fast, but they'd, lose it or loop it. And if I could just be consistent and smooth, I'd finish well. I didn't know if I'd, necessarily win, but figured a top 3 would be in the conversation.
Can we call you road course ringer?
Yeah, I'm a road course guy. When I joined iRacing, I was an oval guy. Kind of went away and went to road for a few years, but come back to oval lately.
What is it, do you think, that's kind of led to you hitting these lines and hitting these corners so smooth? Is it just repetition and practice on this course, or did you really come in with the mindset that, as you mentioned, that you had a top 3 car, but maybe it just opened the door for you to really show your stuff here at the road course?
Yeah, I wasn't sure how everyone else was going to be on a road course. Obviously, this is the first one I've run with these guys. I don't know if they've run before, but I kind of pretty good about picking my lines, picking where I'm going to brake, and being conservative and just drive like I have an eggshell underneath my right foot.
Yeah, man, we're seeing it here tonight with less than 9 laps to go here in the 2G Motorsports 100. Looks like you're going to cruise your way to the race victory here tonight in week number 7. How are you feeling on making yourself known here with about 4 races to go in this season? Do you feel like you can really give those top 2 guys, Jeff Clifton and Caden Tufts, a run for their money in these last 4 races?
Not unless they replace them all with road courses, then I might have a shot.
Yes, sir, but you are racing one heck of a race here tonight, and before we let you go, I'm sure we'll speak to you in just a little while in the victory lane. I do want to give you that opportunity to shout out any sponsors you might have on that race car, or anybody that you might have watching at home.
No, I just want to shout out my wife, shout out you guys for broadcasting, the league for putting it on. It's been a great time, loving it.
Yeah, it's been awesome for us up here in the booth. It's thanks to you drivers for putting on a show that makes the broadcast so exciting. And Daniel, I'm sure we'll speak to you in just a little while. I'll let you get back to hitting those clean lines there, and I appreciate you taking the time with us.
Thanks. Hopefully I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Daniel Rowe, Mike, and Daniel is just really showing his stuff here tonight at the Glen. Like I said, not really a faltered at all there. Really just showing us how to take on this road course at the Glen, Mike. And if somebody that's familiar with road course racing and having a road course experience as yourself, have you ever seen anybody dominate the Glen as Daniel has done here tonight?
I have, but not as much as an extended lead, so to say. We see Jeff being 21, almost 22 seconds back, and Caden 45 seconds from the leader. That's definitely, wow. This is different for sure. We see guys, dominate other races. I've been in races where I've had, top esports drivers, dominate, but nothing like this. When we go to a road course in the NASCAR iRacing series, you always have those road course ringers, so to say. They always come in just for the road course because they know how to drive it, and they end up, dominating, leading, pulling away, know how to drive the car just because it's on a road course. But super speedway, short track, you'll always see them in the back. So, having a different guy up front is good for a change, which means it gives him momentum leading into next race.
Yes, sir. And speaking of Jeff Clifton, I want to see if I can't bring him up into the booth here to maybe speak about his new league coming up in the late model series and his point of view on tonight's race. And hey, Jeff, this is Mike and Will up here in the 10-4 broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I do. How are you?
Good, man. What a race it has been here tonight. Daniel has just really shown that he's, as Mike was just mentioning here on the broadcast, the road course ringer, if you will. He's just really hit every line that he can to keep that car out front. I believe we were just talking that you got about a 21-second gap between first and second there. Take us through your thoughts on tonight's event here at the Glen, and maybe speak about the new series that we have coming up here on the 27th of May.
Yeah, sure. Daniel, I mean, he's whooping our tails tonight. He must have put a lot of practice laps in. I put some in, and I wasn't really happy with the way the car feels. But making it work, trying to keep it clean. I'm not really pushing it too hard because I don't want to spin like everybody else has been tonight. So I'm pretty happy with where I am now. If we can keep it this way, I believe Caden and I will be tied for first in the points. Oof. So it's getting pretty dicey up here. But yeah, it's been pretty fun. The car is definitely it's difficult to drive, as you can see. I'm probably sliding all over the place right now. But it's been a pretty good race. Being able to capitalize on some mistakes from other drivers. Caden rarely ever makes mistakes. Just trying to keep him behind me right now.
Yes, sir. And we were just speaking a little while ago about this awesome new series that's coming up on May 27th. You've started up a late model series. I call it the Sister League of the East Coast Modified Tour here. Kind of take us through what's going to go down in that league, and how can people find out more information?
So that league, that series, is going to operate pretty similarly to the Modifieds. We're going to run roughly 70 to 80 lap races. We're going to have heat races to set up the grid, just like we do in this series. It's going to focus solely on short tracks with the late model. I feel like the late model on iRacing really doesn't get enough love. So they're really fun cars to drive, really fun cars to race. So I feel like it'll be really good for broadcast for the late models. Our first race is coming up on May 27th. It'll be at Thompson. That race will be sponsored by theracing.school.net. We've already got a title sponsor for the event, as well as a series sponsor in Heatwave Designs. So really grateful for them to come out and help us put on the series. And hopefully we can get a couple more sponsors. And I know you guys are going to broadcast it, so really appreciate you guys coming on with us. And I'm really excited to get started.
Yes, sir. We are excited to get involved with that league, as well as we were mentioning during the broadcast. We're going to run about 2 double headers as we have a league wrapping up just in those first 2 weeks there. And one of the races I was looking forward to is at New Smyrna Speedway there in the second week of the season. It's actually a racetrack that's about 2.5 hours, 3 hours away from me here where I'm at in Florida. That's a track that I'm curious to see these the late models take a lap around there, Jeff. And how do people sign up for that, or how do they find out more information?
So the same place that you find, just dodge a wreck there. The same place that you find the tour mods, you can find the late model information. We have our Discord that you can find on the Facebook, which is East Coast Tour Modifieds. That will be the group page where you can see all the information and get the Discord information and go from there.
Alrighty, Jeff. Well, we'll let you get back to it here, man. I'm sure we'll speak to you in just a little while as you're cruising your way to his second place finish here. And what a race number 8 it's going to be next week at Lucas Oil Speedway if everything holds the way it is here tonight. You guys being tied heading down for the last couple races of the season. And Jeff, we want to wish you all the best here, man. We'll speak to you in just a little while.
All right, thanks, guys.
Of course. Jeff Clifton, the self-proclaimed king of the modifieds there, Mike, and he was giving us a little bit more information about the late model series that's coming up on May the 27th, but I believe it is time to hit our last commercial break here in the East Coast Modified Tour 2G Motorsports 100, and once that is all set, we'll be right back to give you these last couple laps. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live and action-packed here, racing here in the 2G Motorsports 100. This is live action at the East Coast Modified Tour. This is the 2G Motorsports 100 here on a beautiful, happy Mother's Day Sunday here. And Mike, for those that are tuning in late to tonight's broadcast, it has been the Daniel Rowe show in that 13. He came into tonight's race with a lot of road course experience, and I think you gave him the moniker as the road course ringer.
Oh, as we see a little bit of checkout by the 51.
This is the white flag is in the air as we are watching Daniel Rowe practically take his victory lap around the track here, Mike. And as I mentioned, he could probably pull into the concession stands, get him a couple of sodas and some hot dogs, and still pull away with this race victory here tonight. But a lot of things are happening behind this race leader here, Mike, as we just spoke with Jeff Clifton in that second place car. If everything holds the way it is right now, Jeff Clifton and Caden Tufts are going to be tied in the points lead heading into week number 8 here in the East Coast Modified Tour. That really opens the door for anybody's championship there heading into Lucas Oil Speedway. But taking a look at the rest of the field here, that's Evan Birkin at 62, and take a look back at that leader there. Watch him just kind of take his victory lap around the track here, Mike. And we spoke to him just a short while ago. Has never really faltered, never really done anything crazy in tonight's event. Has never really honestly had any competition, as we see Daniel Rowe creeping up in that 13 machine. He's going to try to slide that thing across the start-finish line and pick up the big win here in the 2G Motorsports 100. We'll stay with the flag stand to await the arrival of Jeff Clifton and Caden Tufts there. And Mike, what a huge win it was for Daniel Rowe here tonight in the 2G Motorsports 100. There's Jeff Clifton in that 15. We'll wait just a little while there. And as Jeff mentioned, he does have that series coming up on May the 27th at the late models.
I believe Caden had a little accident coming out of the carousel.
Mike, it looks like the 4th place car of Miles Morris is a lap down. So even with that unfortunate mishap there, the 88 of Caden Tufts there, he can still come away with a podium finish. Here he comes coming down the front stretch to come home P3 here tonight in the 2G Motorsports 100. See some battles ensuing behind them. And Mike, we are going to finish tonight's event with only 3 cars left on the lead lap here tonight at the Glen. What a huge win it was for Daniel Rowe there. We spoke to him just a short while ago, and does have a lot of experience here on these road courses. Actually was an oval racer to start things out, got really into the road courses as time went on and his iRacing experience, but really showed his experience here tonight at the Glen. As I said, no troubles at all. Nothing really, never really got loose. We're going to let Daniel Rowe burn it down here at the Glen. What a big win, Mike. It's really going to head into next week, week number 8 at Lucas Oil Speedway with a lot of confidence as you see the 2nd and 3rd place cars of Jeff Clifton and Caden Tufts there. That's huge news coming into week 8 next week, that these 2 drivers are going to be tied for the points lead after tonight's event. So usually an interchange between the 2 drivers of who's going to win, but a different driver has won here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That's Daniel Rowe in that 13 racing out of Northborough, Massachusetts. What a huge win it was for him here tonight. Just really put on a masterclass of road course racing there and went wire to wire here tonight, Mike. And what a surprising race it was for him in that 13 machine.
Yes, normally never see anyone dominate other than Caden or Jeff, but this week definitely a new face up front.
Yes, sir, indeed. And I believe it is time for one more word from our sponsors here tonight in the East Coast Modified Tour, and we'll be right back to speak with our podium finishers.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Your P1 finisher is Daniel Rowe, followed by Jeff Clifton, and your number 88, Caden, I believe it's Tufts. I am told I would correctly pronounce it this week. So, and we're going to be showing up your race recap as we are sending our Will down to pit lane to interview our drivers. As we have on the screen your race results. Again, P1 for Daniel, Jeff second, and Caden P3, followed by number 4th in that number 1 car, Miles Morse. These drivers are a lap down with Nathan Bryant. 2 laps down is Mark Swain. 3 laps down is P7 and 8 of Patrick Jenks and Evan Burke. P9 out of the race early. These gentlemen, Waylon Turner, AJ Rogers, Edward Marshall, Liam Atwood, Chris Edwards, and Jacob Torman.
Man, what a surprising finish it was out of Jacob in that 31 there. It's really been my dark horse throughout this season, but just as you saw, a lot of drivers just gave up on this track here. Maybe not gave up per se, just maybe raced a few laps and realized that tonight wasn't going to be their night and just parked the thing and headed to Lucas Oil Speedway next week, Mike. But again, what a huge win it was for Daniel Rowe in that 13. And good on Nathan Bryant to finishing in the top 5. That's going to be huge as far as points go here towards the end of the season. As we know, we're heading into week number 8 with a tie at the top of the point standings here. And we'll speak with one of those drivers who is tied at the top of the standings, and that is Caden Tufts there in that 88 machine. Hey, Caden, this is Mike and Will up here in the 10-4 broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Man, crazy race here tonight, to say the least. We saw the Daniel Rowe show just really come away with it here tonight, just really put on a masterclass of Watkins Glen or road course racing in general. Kind of take us through your point of view of tonight's race and what you thought of the road course.
It's definitely an interesting switch with an oval car going to a road course. I mean, 2 years compared to usually how you would have 6 in a road car. But, 2 years kept it in second gear pretty much the whole entire race. I think I tried once and that didn't really end well. Other than that, yeah, this was a fun race. It was definitely eventful for me in the most part. I think I spun like 3 times. Definitely, I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but it's like an unusual term of events, I guess. But I mean, you're always gonna have those tricky times in racing. So I'm glad I got mine early in the season, and there's lots of time to make stuff back.
Yes, sir. And in speaking with Daniel Rowe there, he actually revealed that he has a lot of road course experience underneath his belt. So Mike gave him the moniker of the road course ringer there, and we kind of saw it in tonight's event. He just didn't have any problems at all, never really got loose, never really had any competition up there at the lead. But big news heading into next week, as we were just speaking with Jeff Clifton there, as those results hold and you guys finished 2-3 there, you guys are going to be tied in points heading into week 8 at Lucas Oil Speedway next week. How are you feeling about this points championship leading down into the last couple races of the season?
It's gonna be a close finish, honestly. I'm just hoping nothing real life world gets involved. really all I gotta really hope for is just keep good finishes up. Um, try to stay out of wrecks and just good finishes. No wrecks, and yeah, that's about it.
So we're not looking forward to this next week or so here. Will we see you Tuesday in the VRA League? Will you see you go make your second race of the season there and maybe pick up another victory of this week?
That league was actually pretty fun. So yeah, you guys will probably see me there unless hockey or something gets in the way.
That's right. It is hockey season, definitely. Who are you rooting for the Stanley Cup this year?
I'm not really too sure here, but I mean Toronto's doing pretty good. So I mean they're one of the quote unquote local teams, I guess, since there's not really any Nova Scotian teams. It's probably either Montreal or Toronto, but I mean Toronto's doing pretty good. So I just gotta hope for them. I mean they haven't won a cup in God knows how long. So yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
man. I was a Maple Leafs fan for the longest time with Domi and Sundin there, but now living down in Florida, I have to pull for the Panthers, and it's not looking too good for them so far here, going on here. But I believe Mike does have a question for you.
I was actually just going to make a comment. I got to pull for the Penguins only because the AHL hockey team is about 30 minutes down the road for me. So definitely, I know it's everybody's non-favorite team to win.
Alrighty, Caden, and before we let you go here on this beautiful Happy Mother's Day Sunday here, we do want to give you the opportunity to shout out any sponsors or anybody that you might have had watching here tonight, or if you want to shout out that new league here coming up on the 27th, maybe we'll see you in that as well, but the floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot to thank them in the mid race here, but TJ Allen, I don't think he was able to make it tonight, but he has a huge charity event coming up here soon, Mission 22. Make sure to message him or his Facebook page and get into that event. It's support veteran suicide. Definitely a big deal here on the sim and all around the world. I mean, it's going to be great to have this race. Then all my sponsors: Bradwater Mortgages, Kimberly Beverage Room, LBT Pallets, A-Rod HVAC, JDM Broadcasting, Factory S Motorsports. Nathan, he was helping me out a lot this race, and you guys for putting this on.
Yes, sir. That is an awesome organization that we saw TJ representing last week in Mission 22. I believe it's a cause personal to me. I believe there's a lot more spotlight and a lot more attention that needs to be put on mental health and especially veterans in general. There's a lot of things that need to be done. I think we're way behind on that here in the U.S. of really spotlighting those things and getting people to talk about problems they're going through, and everybody's there for everybody. So if it just takes talking to somebody about something, but what an awesome organization that is to really put a spotlight on that, Caden. And we want to appreciate you here taking the time with us here tonight, coming home P3. I know it's not the usual. Usually we speak to you here in Victory Lane, but we'll see you on Tuesday night, and you have a good rest of your night.
Sounds good. You guys too.
And that was Caden Tufts there, Mike. What a race it was out of him. Coming home P3, not really the race that we're used to seeing him run, but really going into the next week, going to be tied for the points lead. And see if we can't get our second place finisher up into the chat here. And Jeff Clifton, the self-proclaimed king of the modifieds. And neither one of you guys, you or Caden, is going to come home with the crown here tonight. You guys are going to be deadlocked for the point series next week, Jeff. And kind of take us through your point of view of tonight's race and what you thought about these modifieds at the road course.
Yeah, that was an interesting race. It wasn't. I can't say that I saw a lot of action myself because up front there wasn't really a lot of cars. The start was pretty interesting. I went really easy down into turn one. I didn't want to miss the corner, and I didn't want to get into Daniel there on the start. So I went really easy there and just tried to fall in and let this thing get spread out because I didn't want to get into any wrecks or spin or overshoot a corner, any of that mess. But I mean, it was a good race for me. It was clean. I'm not usually great at road courses, so to pull one off like this, clean, and finish ahead of Caden, it was a pretty good night for me. I don't think anybody had anything for Daniel. he was gone from start to finish. So, man, shout out to him. He raced his tail off tonight. So, I mean, he earned that one. So, I'm hoping that he does pretty good for the rest of the season because I'd like to see the points battle really tighten up. I know between Caden and I, it is, like you said, deadlocked. I've got 1 point over him. He had 1 point over me last week. So this thing is going to go into the last race, I think. So we'll see. I know I can beat Caden, so we're good there. I just got to keep putting consistent finishes down and try to keep him right around me. Maybe get a couple of wins. I think our next track, I'm not sure what it is, but I'll have to look. But yeah, so just really good night all around for me, I think.
Yes, sir. And speaking with Daniel, he actually revealed to us that he has a little bit more road course experience. So, as Mike gave him the moniker as the road course ringer there, and you'd mentioned that you and Caden are going to be deadlocked heading into next week. Next week's race is going to be Lucas Oil Speedway. So, just wanted to ask you, how confident are you heading into next week, and how confident are you about this points championship with only about 4 races left?
I haven't raced too many times at Lucas Oil. I think I've done a few street stock races there, maybe a couple late model races. But other than that, I really haven't run there too much. But I'll put some practice laps in, and we'll see what happens. I'll just try to keep it clean and try to get another podium or a win.
There we go. And looking forward to the rest of the week here, Jeff. Will we see you on Tuesday night in the Virtual Racing Association? I know Caden's going to try to make it go back-to-back there, picking up his second win in 2 starts there. Is he going to have any competition Tuesday night?
Oh, you know it. In our first season here at the East Coast Tour Mods, we ran at Nashville, and there was another driver that I was competing with for the points lead at the time. He's not with us anymore, so I mean that's probably good because he whips tail too. But he took a last to first challenge just like Caden did earlier this season, and like that pretty much handed me the win at Nashville. And I didn't look back from there. I kept the points lead all the way up until the end of the season. So I'm really hoping to find success at Nashville again. I know I'm fast there. It's just a matter of, trying to match Caden's speed. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir. And before we let you go here on this happy Mother's Day Sunday here, we just want to give you that opportunity to shout out any of your sponsors or anybody that you might have had watching here tonight, and also where people can find out more information about that new league you have here coming up on the 27th.
Yeah, absolutely. So our first sponsor for the late model series is Heatwave Designs. They're going to be our title sponsor for the series. So we are super, super grateful for them coming on with us. It means a lot. And the guy Cameron is the fellow's name that runs Heatwave. He does great work, and he's been putting in a lot of work for the series. He's working on a bunch of paints for the cars, so we're hoping to get a couple of paints on the cars out there for everybody to see, get his work out there. I'm a firm believer in his paints. They're clean. They're perfect. I run it. The one I run on my modified is a Heatwave design, so we're super grateful that he's on with us. And then Admin Box, they are going to be doing promotional codes for everybody at the East Coast Tour Mods and the Eastern Late Model Series. So we are really thankful for them to be doing what they're doing for us. And then we have one race sponsor so far. All of our races are available for individual sponsorship. So if anybody wants to sponsor a race, you can find out information on our Discord. And you can find the Discord through East Coast Tour Modifieds on Facebook. So if anybody's interested in sponsoring individual races, that will give you the opportunity to name the event and post a logo and a little bit of information about the business that you're trying to get advertised out there. So our first sponsor is the racingschool.net, and they operate out of, I believe, Thompson Speedway. So I think it's appropriate for them to be sponsoring our first race at Thompson. So we're really grateful for them doing that for us. And then we have obviously the Tour Modified sponsors, which are, I'm looking here. I don't have them off the top of my head. I'm a bad driver. Admin Box, Martin Sports, and Stay Tuned Sports Podcast. So really, really grateful for everything that they do for us. They make it possible for us to race every Sunday night and get a broadcast on, and we're gonna have another payout this season, so they make that possible. And man, it's the greatest thing for them to do that for us, because what else will we have to do on a Sunday night without them, you know? And then you guys, we are so thankful that you guys came on with us after our other broadcaster had to step away, and you guys have been doing a really good job, and you guys are coming on for the late model series, so I'm really excited to get that started. May 27th will be our first race at Thompson Speedway, so be looking out for that, and we hope to put on a really good show for everybody.
Yes, sir. It is always a great show for us up here in the booth. We are looking forward to next week there. You and Caden are going to be deadlocked for the points here in the East Coast Tour Modifieds. And then, of course, on the 27th, as you were just mentioning, that first race of the season is going to be Thompson Speedway. And I don't know, me and Mike will have to speak to our accounting department to see if we can't sponsor a race there in that league. I think it would be a huge opportunity for us to put our name on one of those races. 10-4 broadcasting. But again, we want to thank you for taking the time with us here tonight, Jeff, and I'm sure we'll speak to you here pretty soon if things continue the way that they're going for you here this season, as well as in the VRA League as well, Jeff. And we want to wish you a great night, and we want to appreciate you taking the time with us.
Thanks, guys.
That was Jeff Clifton, Mike, and usually we speak to him in Victory Lane, but coming home P2 here tonight, and man, I am super pumped for that new series coming up on the 27th. Of course, for the viewers at home, we'll be having a double header on May the 27th and June the 3rd. There's going to be two different crews that are going to be doing those two events. But man, Mike, as we have that high octane sim series wrapping up their championship races just towards the first week of June there, Mike. But how pumped up are you to see that new late model series that Jeff is going to be behind there?
Definitely excited to see the late models in action, especially at short tracks. I know I'm in talks as well to sponsor one of the events. Can't disclose what event I'm looking at, but definitely looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. I think for us, it would be perfect to sponsor that new Smyrna Speedway race. Because as our main producer, Tim Hammond, was actually from Florida, I'm down here in Florida as well, so be an awesome opportunity to actually make sense, seeing as though 10-4 broadcasting was basically created down here on Florida. So taking a look at the next couple races here, this is going to be the late model series. New Smyrna is going to be that second week of the season. And a few other races there as well, Mike, but what an awesome opportunity that would be there. And we can't let you viewers go without speaking to the road course ringer himself, and that is Daniel Rowe in that 13, and he raced a master class of modifieds here at the Glen. And Daniel, I just kind of take us through, I know we spoke to you towards the end of the race there, take us through how you were able to just not only dominate here tonight, I believe you won the race by about 26, 28 seconds there. That's something similar to what you would see in a video game. Is it just your repetition and practice on road courses, or you just felt like you had the fastest car here tonight?
Yeah, I think pretty experienced at Watkins. Did a little bit in these cars before on a road course a couple seasons ago when they were here in official. But yeah, just familiarity with being on road, I guess.
Now, as Mike mentioned to start this broadcast here, it's not really on a road course like this. It's not really a race between you and the other drivers. It's a race between yourself and the track. Do you ever feel yourself maybe losing, not like losing attention, but just kind of like fading as far as like your competition goes, knowing that you had such a large lead on second place? Did you ever feel yourself like kind of losing it, or did you just stay focused throughout the entire race?
Tried to stay focused as best I could, maybe once or twice, but really tried to kind of back it down and just drive conservatively. You know, if I had to pick it up because someone was gaining on me, I could, but no sense pushing it if I'm got a comfortable lead.
Man, heading into next week, it's going to be week number 8 here in the East Coast Tour Modifieds, and it's going to be taking place at Lucas Oil Speedway. We spoke to you about that. Not much experience at that track, but we're going to go into next week with a deadlock at the top of the table for the points lead. Do you feel like the way that you've been really coming on here in the last couple of weeks that you could maybe sneak in for that points championship there towards the end?
I think it would take a lot. I think it would take some misfortune on the other guys' part, both Caden and Jeff. They're pretty much guaranteed to be top 3, 4, if worst case. So even if I get the win, I don't know if I'd be able to catch up to them.
Right. But an awesome masterclass here tonight, Daniel. And will we see you Tuesday night there in the VRA League? I know a lot of the drivers here in the East Coast Modified Tour race in that league as well. Will we see you racing in that league as well on Tuesday?
Yeah, I just saw them talking about that. I was hoping to pop in there, and I think they're talking about a late model league here on Friday nights starting up. Probably try to get that one too.
Yes, sir. I believe that series starts on the 27th. That's going to be on our Friday night around 8 o'clock. It's going to be the green flag as that. I'm sure there's some more information as we're throwing up that flyer once again here. Going to be around practice, and the drivers meeting is going to take place around 7:45 on Friday nights. Qualifying is going to take place at 8 p.m., and then that green flag is going to drop for the first heat at 8:05 Eastern Standard Time, and that series starts on May 27th. So hopefully we see you in that series as well, Daniel. And man, there's not really much to say about tonight's race. You just kind of made it your show here tonight. You dominated from start to finish. We heard Jeff just a little while ago say that he had a play for you on that first corner of the first lap. Kind of backed off just a little bit just to make sure he didn't take you out there on that first corner. But then after that, you were just in clean open air with almost reminded me of the French driver from Talladega Nights there. You were sipping Perrier water with a little bit of smooth jazz going on in the background. No worries in the world at all here tonight.
Yeah, I was a little worried about turn 1. You know, figured it was going to be a little bit of a log jam, but luckily we seemed to get through clean the whole way through the field, so surprised.
Man, big congratulations from us here in the booth. And before we let you go here in Victory Lane, is there anybody that you wanted to shout out or any sponsors you may have had representing you here tonight?
Just my wife again, Jenny. Let me do this. Let me have my fun. And everyone that makes this possible. The sponsors that sponsor the race and the league, and you guys for broadcasting it. It's real fun time.
Yes, sir. And what an awesome race it was out of you here tonight, Daniel. And we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday night. And we look forward to seeing what you have in store at the Lucas Oil Speedway next Sunday night here in the East Coast Tour Modifieds. And again, big congratulations from us here at the booth. It was quite a race here tonight, winning by a 26-second margin. So awesome race, Daniel.
Thanks. Hopefully I talk to you guys again soon.
Yes, sir. Of course. You have a great rest of your night. We appreciate you taking the time with us.
Thanks, guys.
Man, that was Daniel Rowe, Mike, and 26 seconds he came away with the race victory here tonight. I would have to say, of all the broadcasts that we've done here at 10-4 Broadcasting, that was probably the widest margin that we've seen somebody win by and all across all of our leagues.
Yeah, you know, when you come to a road course, it's a whole different animal when you come between speedways and road courses. So, you know, will we see it again? Another dominance? Who knows? You know, maybe iRacing has something up their sleeve, so to say, in the works to try to close the gap on road courses.
Yes, sir. But we head to Lucas Oil Speedway next week in these East Coast Tour Modifieds, and we'll see going into next week with a deadlock at the top of the table whose points championship is going to be creeping down to about less than 4 laps to go. But that is not it for us here at 10-4 Broadcasting, whereas we have a busy week coming up here in the booth. Tuesday night, as mentioned, and a lot of these drivers here in the East Coast Tour Modifieds race in the Virtual Racing Association. It's going to be on Tuesday night around 8 p.m. It's going to be joined by me and Tim Hammond. Mike is going to be up being race control and admin for that. They need you up there, Mike. I know that last week's race at the Coliseum was quite a mess. So they definitely need you back up there to control things during the race. But as far as the rest of the week goes, Mike, we got a busy week as well. On Thursday night, we have a money race for the High Octane Sim Series. It's going to be taking place at 7 p.m. there. More information on that race. I believe it's a $20 buy-in. It's going to be paying out in cash. Go check them out. I believe they're going to be running next gen in that money race. I believe you're racing in that race as well, Mike.
Yes, sir. Definitely
There we go.
interested in, who knows, maybe I can come home with the victory. And on the screen, you could see we talked to Caden and stuff about the Mission 22 event. We do have a poster up on the screen. You could check it out for more information if you'd like to donate, as well as enter the event as well. They are going to be using the Whelen Modifieds and the Super Late models, to be honest with you. From what it says on here, they said gates open at 6, qualifying will be at 8:45, and the race will start at 8:55. So you got 2 races. Definitely, hopefully they can put on a great show for you guys.
Yes, sir. And what an awesome organization that Mission 22 represents. And as I've spoken a few times here on the broadcast, I believe that is a cause that should be more highlighted here in the United States. Not a lot of mental health discussions that are taking place. I know it was highlighted during the Olympics as we saw Simone Biles have problems there on the biggest stage in the world. But other than that, there's not much thought that takes place about mental health and what people go through on a regular basis. So really needs to be more spotlighted, and what a better way to do that, Mike, than running an iRacing event. That's going to be 2 nights of that series there. An awesome opportunity to not only catch some awesome iRacing action, but also a chance to donate to that cause, to find more information about that cause as well. And it's an awesome cause to get involved with there, Mike, at the Mission 22. If you want more information on that, head over to TJ George Esports on Facebook, or jump over to the East Coast Tour Modified Facebook group as well to find out more information about how you can participate in that race, or if you just like to donate to that cause as well. There are links there to find out more information. And Mike, I believe we're going to be welcoming a new league on Thursday night for us here at 10-4 Broadcasting. We're going to be racing some, I believe it's going to be Xfinity cars on Thursday night. And I believe if all things stay the course, we're going to have a producing debut of Patrick Morrison as a producer here at 10-4 Broadcasting. So good luck to Patrick on Thursday. He'll be rocking that second race of the night at 9 p.m. there. For that league, Xfinity cars running there. So we're going to big congratulations to Patrick for taking that on here at 10-4 Broadcasting. And then, of course, you can catch me and Mike on Friday night, the High Octane Sim Series. Only 3 races left in that series, Mike. Things have just gone by super fast in that league. And then, of course, you can catch Mitchell Adams and Patrick Morrison up in the booth on Saturday nights, bringing you action out of the Powerhouse Racing League. And then we'll be right back here next Sunday, bringing you action from Lucas Oil Speedway at 8 p.m. Eastern, Mike. And not much to say about tonight's race. Usually we see the regular names of Nathan Bryant, Caden Tufts, Jeff Clifton up there, but tonight it was the Daniel Rowe show, and not much to say other than the fact that he just dominated this race from start to finish. Came home with a 26-second victory here on a happy Mother's Day, and man, what a huge win it was for him here tonight.
Definitely, good momentum going into next week. And he's also looking to join us on Tuesday night in the next race there for sure. Who knows? Maybe he can get back-to-back wins and knock off Caden.
Yes, sir. And you're really starting to see the more track time that these drivers have with these modified cars, are really panning out in these races and making these races a lot more competitive. We saw it last week in the VRA League where it came down to the last couple laps there. It's really taken its toll on a lot of these drivers to have to pull away with these race victories. And this is just an anomaly here tonight to see this driver win by 26 seconds. Usually it's a side-by-side battle with the last couple of laps. Usually it's a few cars getting tangled up there towards the end. But tonight I would have to say at 10-4 Broadcasting here, for me personally, I'm not sure for you, Mike, and I don't know about the rest of the crews here on staff, but that was the largest margin of victory that I've ever called here in iRacing. And man, what a better driver to do it here tonight. And he really showed his road course experience.
Yeah, who knows? I might want to recruit him for my team. Having that type of background for sure is key, especially at these endurance races that my team does a lot. I know coming up we're looking at the 24 hours of Le Mans. That is not going to be an official iRacing event due to licensing. So I know the major series is the ones that are actually putting that event on. So my team is little by little getting together and looking forward to that event. The next event that is iRacing official. Looking at the 6 hours at the Glen, and that will be the bus stop, I believe, and the boot as well. So looking forward to a lot of events coming up for not just my team, but here in both the Haas series and all our leagues, for sure. You know, we've seen funny fuel mileage races. We've seen beating and banging. You know, what are we gonna see next? Who knows? You just have to tune in and find out.
Yes, sir. And to stay up to date with everything we got going on here at 10-4 Broadcasting, go check us out on Facebook at 10-4 Broadcasting on there. Also, go search our YouTube channel at 10-4 Broadcasting and hit that notification bell, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the things we got going on here. Even if you can't watch us, give us a listen, tune in to that. We do want to appreciate everybody for tuning in to tonight's race here. I know it was not the most exciting race, to be honest with the viewers, but a big win from Daniel Rowe there to pull away the 26-second win there, Mike. And we want to wish all those mothers out there and grandmothers out there a wonderful, happy Mother's Day here on a Sunday night here. And again, we want to appreciate everybody for tuning in. Shout out to all those awesome sponsors that are involved here with this East Coast Tour Modifieds at Stay Tuned Sports. We also have Martin Sports 906, all that awesome iRacing apparel as well. And you can't forget the big dog of Admin Box. That's 2 X's on there as well at adminbox.com. And again, for me, myself, William Tiller, and Mike Maddox, we want to wish all the moms and grandmothers out there a happy Mother's Day, and we'll see you on the track Tuesday night.